welcome to the Drew Crew. This is our first episode. My name is Peter. I'm a librarian.
My name is Kelly. I'm also a librarian.
Yeah, and so we're going to be going through as many Nancy Drew books as we can.
Mm-hmm.
Normally I cover the Choose Your Own Adventure books with my friend Abby. But we used to work together.
Until I up and left you.
Yep. But when you left, you gave me a goodbye card or a thank you card.
I wrote a lot of people that I worked with a goodbye letter, and I needed a note card or some stationery, and I was looking around the house, and I remembered because I have a lot of Nancy Drew stuff, memorabilia, books, and I had come across some Nancy Drew notebook letterhead, and so I decided I would write everybody the note on Nancy Drew paper. Yes,
I still have your letter.
Yeah,
but that gave me the idea of that's the way we can stay in touch is by reading these books.
Absolutely.
And so you've been a Nancy Drew fan for forever or for how long?
Yeah. So when I was a kid, we would go to the library, and the library that we used had a chapter book section, but they had a mystery section that was separate from.
Okay.
And so I was probably between 9 and 11 or something. These were the books. For some reason, I would just go right to these books. And it's The Yellow Spine.
Yes.
That stood out. I'm sure I read all of them that they had, probably not necessarily in order. And I wouldn't say you would need to read them in order. Right. It doesn't matter. But for whatever reason, this was a thing that just captivated me. I do love a mystery, so kind of figuring out what's going on, which I know when I go back and read these now, they're not probably all that
Right. Well, that was my takeaway from reading this first one, because I've never touched these, obviously. I was expecting more like an Encyclopedia Brown.
Right.
Just an actual
and
mystery.
I loved those too. But yeah, and maybe part of it too, because I think, and we can get into this more later, but the thing about Nancy Drew, I think that has made her timeless, or you hear a lot of women particularly say, oh yeah, I remember Nancy Drew, is that it's a story of this teenage girl who can basically do anything. And so it's kind of this empowering thing, I think.
I could see that.
Yeah. So, but for me too, I did love a mystery. So I would grab these. I would grab other mysteries as well, the Boxcar Children or just other series that were in that collection. After that, as I get older, then I've collected books and other things.
I saw an original edition of Nancy Drew, the first Secret of the Old Clock, which is what we're going to read. I was like, I'm going to get it for the show. And it was $50. I was like,
yep.
I don't think so.
No. And I will, if we go, because sometimes we'll go to antique stores and just look around at stuff. I'm always looking, is there a Nancy Drew there? I do have some first editions. This one is a first
Hidden Staircase,
of
which
the
is the
second book. I don't have a first edition of the first book because, again, they are expensive. I don't know. This one was it was listed at $15 when I bought it, which is really good. But yeah, they are not cheap, and they are hard to find. Oftentimes, if I go to an antique mall, they'll have a lot of Hardy Boys, but there's hardly a Nancy Drew.
Probably because they hold on to them. The people hold on to them more than they do the Hardy Boys.
I think they collect them. Yeah, a little more than the Hardy Boys. So
speaking of going to thrift stores, you told me that you went thrifting yesterday.
I did go thrifting yesterday.
Did you find any old clocks? Did you go sleuthing for some old clocks?
No old clocks.
Was there any stolen silverware?
No, nothing like that.
Okay.
No, yeah.
Did you pick up anything?
I picked up some clothing and a jigsaw puzzle.
Okay.
My friend also picked up some clothing, and she picked up a little bell also. A little ding. It was an orange painted bell.
Why? For what?
Well, she's going to use it for some, I don't know.
Well, what do you need a bell for? That's the mystery.
It was a really cute bell, though. It was painted orange. It was like a little ding, and it was only $2. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was curious. Another mystery solved. I mean, that mystery, the mystery of the bell, is just as captivating as this mystery.
I know. That's the thing. These are
There's a lot of action.
There is always a lot of action. I think one of the things that they like wanted when they wrote these was like every chapter kind of had to end almost in like a cliffhanger.
Yes.
Like, and then he said this, and it was very. Or
she gets attacked by a dog at the end of one chapter.
She gets attacked by a dog, and what's going to happen? Yes.
She'll get locked in a closet.
Exactly. Like there's always something that's like, oh my gosh, and then this, and then you have to turn the page.
Very like serials from.
Yes, absolutely.
Like that time,
which I think, I think that's a big part of it was like if you compare this to other books written, the original book was published in 1930, but they were all revised in the late 50s and early 60s.
Yes, and so we can get into.
So what we read was that, but
right.
Yeah, but and to be honest with you, I'm not sure that I have actually read one from the 30s. So when we get to one. Like the second one, where I own both, I kind of want to look at both of them and compare.
So what we read today was The Secret of the Old Clock, written by Carolyn Keene, who is not a real person.
Correct.
You were kind of telling me ahead of time.
Yes.
So Carolyn Keene was...
Carolyn Keene is a pseudonym. There was a publishing syndicate that pumped out a lot of different book series. And so they were looking for a series specifically geared towards girls. And they had other book series that were really popular, Tom Swift, and they had just started the Hardy Boys. They felt like they needed something specifically with like a single character for girls. And then the girl, because apparently they found that girls were reading Tom Swift and the Hardy Boys and that sort of thing. So they thought, let's get a book with a main character that's a girl. And so Edward Stratmeyer was the head of the syndicate.
Yes.
Yeah. And so this was originally his idea, but I think around the first publishing of the series, he passed away. His daughters, I should say, Harriet and Edna, took over the syndicate. Harriet really ran the whole thing.
But the way you keep saying syndicate makes it sound... criminal.
Like, criminal? I feel like, I mean, that's what they kept calling it, the Stratmeyer Syndicate. And I suppose it's really like a publishing house.
Right. I understand.
And when I think of it like they're churning out books.
Sure.
Because that's when you read these books, you're like, oh, yes, it's a series. It's like the serial. Like, we're going to keep the action flowing. We're going to keep things going. Harriet would write like an outline, but I think it was very basic. I don't know that there was, much more than here's a paragraph or two on what we're looking for.
Sure.
And then they would give it that to their ghostwriters.
Okay.
They were paid pretty minimally. I mean, they were paid one time for the book.
Yes.
So like for...
As opposed to like, and obviously these have been reprinted countless times now. So.
Yes. Different than what you would get now if you were an author, or if you're talking about royalties or something like that. They would never got any of that, or even the recognition until much later. So Mildred Wirt, who then became Mildred Wirt Benson after her husband passed away, she was the one who wrote probably the first 30 to 35. I'm probably getting the number wrong, but she wrote most of those. There was somebody else who did write a couple in the middle there. They had like a falling out with Mildred, and he wrote some, and then it went back to Mildred. In my mind, she's like she is Nancy Drew. Like she's your she gave Nancy kind of maybe this spunk that I think you'd see more in the originals than in the reprints.
I see. All right.
That's what I'm guessing anyway. So
all right.
That was more than you needed.
But you guys sit up a little bit.
Yeah.
New podcast, new show. I thought we could come up with some segments.
Yes.
And so
I like that.
Came up with a segment called Drew Conclusions. Because this is a mystery, I wanted to guess what the mystery was.
Yeah.
What the answer was to the mystery, kind of like 2 chapters in, 3 chapters in.
Okay.
And this is what I wrote down. It's on honor system.
Okay.
And so this is what I wrote down. The will of Josiah Crowley will be in the clock. The men who stole the furniture will have stolen the clock without knowing the will is in it. And I was shockingly close.
You were very, very close
to getting the answer.
Yes.
Without even knowing
Yes.
What the mystery was.
Yes. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert in the title.
Well, right.
What's the secret of the old clock? That's it. Like the answer is in the old clock.
There is something in an old clock. Mm-hmm. It wasn't actually the will, but
it might as well have been.
It was the location of the will.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Exactly. I think we're going to find that every book is like this. This is not high stakes. You're never going to be shocked by who the bad guys are or probably how the mystery is solved.
That was the most shocking thing about this was like, oh, there's really no mystery.
No, there isn't. I mean, I think, again, when I think of like the goal, obviously, if this is a business and we're here to churn out a bunch of books, I think the goal really was, let's get girls interested in reading and give them like a kind of an action story with a female lead.
Basically.
Like they were reading in other books.
Sure.
So, but yeah, it's funny because like, I feel like I can say my love of like mysteries and thrillers comes from Nancy Drew, but there's really not a great mystery in a Nancy Drew. And
there's thrilling bits though.
They're always a very obvious conclusion.
This is how the book starts, and this is how we're introduced to Nancy Drew. Let me find the section. Nancy Drew, an attractive girl of 18, was driving home along a country road in her new dark blue convertible. I texted you right away when I read that. It's like an attractive girl of 18. It's really weird, but every character is going to be described by their attractiveness level. Yeah. It's very weird. Yeah. People will either be handsome or husky or ugly or attractive. Right. It's very odd.
Right. Yeah. And you can tell immediately like who the bad guys are by how they're described. You know, generally the bad guys, if it's a man, they're usually shifty-eyed, probably more husky. It's a little Scooby-Doo-ish in a way, just very like, it's super obvious. You can tell by their face. I think there was a description of one of the Topham sisters who you find out, spoiler alert, but not really, that they are not good people. In spite of the expensive clothes she wore, Ada was not attractive. She was very thin and sallow with an expression of petulance. And then there's the other sister, Isabel, who is the pride of the Topham family, was rather pretty, but her face lacked character.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. But, I mean, you can tell immediately, and that's usually the way these books progress. Like, it's very sad, but also, I mean, it's just a very formulaic way of doing things, I guess.
That's true. Nancy Drew's driving along with her blue convertible, which seems to be kind of iconic.
Yes, absolutely. In the original books, she had a roadster.
Okay.
I was just reviewing another book that kind of talks about Nancy Drew, and it sounded like she started with, I believe, a blue roadster, and then she gets a green roadster, and then she gets something else, like all in the span of, I think, like 10 books.
And it's a gift from her father.
Yes.
Who's a lawyer.
Correct.
So it's kind of clear that it's a gift. So it's kind of clear that she's well off to some extent.
When you think about when the first books were published, it was like right around the time of the Depression.
Exactly.
But like that never really like enters into this world that much. I mean, I guess in this first book, you do have people who are
like destitute.
Nancy is not.
Yes.
Like that's not, she's not touched by that. Her father seems to do well. In fact, I mean, she doesn't have a job from what we can tell. She's just driving around, maybe doing a little shopping, solving some mysteries.
Right. I mean, living the dream.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's driving along. It's at night and she almost gets like hit by this moving van.
Well, there's a moving van and then
it kind of peels out.
Yes.
And then this moving van not only almost hits her, but almost hits this kid.
Yes.
Too. Nancy Drew, of course, has to stop and help.
Yes, that's what she does.
And so Nancy Drew brings the kid into the house.
Yes.
And she meets the Tucker sisters.
Yes.
And so there are these older ladies, and they're taking care of
Judy.
Yes.
She's 5, I believe, 5 years old. Judy, her parents died tragically, which is a running theme In every book, somebody's... You might learn this more in chapter 2. Nancy's mother has passed away when she was young.
Yes.
Children without parents is a running theme, I think.
Okay.
So, yes. So these two sisters have taken in Judy.
Right.
And are caring for her. I mean, we are literally on page 2, page 3. They have spilled their life story to Nancy Drew. That's the part that always gets me is like, here we are. She was driving along. There's a truck. A kid gets almost hit. There is no, we could take her to a doctor. She's like, I know she's fine.
Right. There's a part later where she says like, oh, she'll come to in like a minute or so.
Yes.
And it's like, well, clearly she has a concussion then, Nancy. Like,
right. Exactly. So apparently at 18 years old, she has much medical knowledge. She assures them Judy will be fine. And then they tell her their life story.
Right. So they're taking care of Judy, don't have much money, but they were promised money by Josiah Crowley. And Josiah Crowley was a boarder for them. I always never really understood that, like in movies, like older movies, where it's just like, you just had someone live with you and like, it's like before apartments, basically.
Yeah, it did seem like that was a thing.
It's like an Airbnb, but the person lives with you.
So, or like when you see like an apartment listed and you're like looking for a roommate or something. I don't know why anybody would ever do. I mean, you would do it for the thing that confuses me about this, right? Okay, so Josiah Crowley, supposedly very wealthy, right? He passes away. There's a will, but the will doesn't seem right based on what he's told people. He was boarding with them, and then later
He boards with everybody.
he's living with his cousins who you find out are the people that are not, they're not attractive. They don't look good. If he's so wealthy, why is he boarding with all these people?
Well, he gets bored with boarding is the thing.
I guess.
He has to move around.
Right. So that's the part that's very confusing to me is if you were this but maybe that's how he became wealthy. Maybe he's also stingy with his money.
They boarded this Crowley guy, and he's wealthy, and he promised them money when he died, and they never got any of this money.
Correct.
We find out why that truck was kind of sped out of their driveway is because this truck, and maybe this was a thing back in the day, but it seems really weird. This truck just came up to their house and said, hey, do you have any furniture that you can sell to us?
That would be a good thing to research. Like, was that a thing?
I don't know. I mean, maybe.
Just somebody coming along looking for, like maybe it's like American Pickers. They just drive by a place and they're like, you've got a lot of stuff in your yard. You want to sell any of it? Maybe it was like that.
It might have been, but it seems very weird. But it was basically a scam. They took this furniture, but they also took like silverware and silver candlesticks.
Yeah,
and
valuables.
Yes.
Yeah.
These two sisters are kind of more destitute now because of the few valuable things they had. They're gone.
Right. And that's all chapter 1.
Yes. I just realized, do you have any extra rooms here in your house?
Yeah.
Would you be interested in taking in any boarders or no?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. I don't see why not.
Oh, I just like to be alone.
That's fair. I guess the kid's fine. The kid finally comes to. The kid's fine. And so she immediately goes on the hunt to try and find this van.
Yes. Which is our first cliffhanger end of a chapter. She's going to speed off after the van.
Isn't able to find him. And so she just reports it. She goes back home. And this is where we meet her family.
Correct.
And so, yeah, her father's a lawyer. Don't worry, he's handsome.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, he wouldn't be otherwise. and he will often talk to her about his cases. Like, she doesn't work for him or anything, but he'll often like come home and be like, let me tell you about this case that I have. And that's where sometimes you'll see some of her other cases pop up because he's come home and told her about it.
Well, it also seems like what she's doing is illegal. So it seems like she, like Mr. Drew, does he have a first name?
Carson.
It seems like Carson is kind of like using her as like a mercenary or like a spy or like a...
Yeah, I suppose in a way it could be viewed that way. Yes. Well, and it is, I mean, it's an odd, like, what high-powered lawyer consults with his teenage daughter about a case.
Because that can't be legal either. Like, because it's all like
I wouldn't imagine
attorney-client privilege.
Yeah, I would imagine that is not the way things usually work.
So yeah, she has her dad, and she also has like a maid, slash
so
mom.
like they have a housekeeper, Hannah Gruen. I mean, she serves the like mother figure purpose. She is like the housekeeper. I think she lives there. She does all the cooking, the cleaning, but also like you get the impression like she kind of, as you go on, it's like, well, she kind of raised Nancy. She frets over all of Nancy's like doings when she's trying to solve a mystery. She's afraid she's going to get hurt. But she's not enough of a mother figure to be like, no, don't do that.
Right.
You know, like, and I think that's part of why they like write out one of the parents, is that then it gives this teenager the freedom to just like, you know, drive all over the place and get locked in closets and things like that. But yes, so Hannah Gruen is like, I feel like she's like this mother figure, but I feel she's kind of almost like a flag character in my mind.
Oh, definitely.
You know, she serves a purpose. She's not going to be solving any mysteries with Nancy. Let's just say that. So that is her family.
That's a spinoff, though. That'd be a spinoff.
That would be an interesting spinoff, yeah.
Next day, Nancy Drew is kind of determined to try and find the second will because Josiah Crowley promised in his will that he'd be leaving this money to all these different people.
Yes.
So, but before she does that, she has to go and get a dress.
Right. There's a dance happening.
Yes. Which you never see. You never see the dance.
No, you don't. It's like a fundraiser, correct? I believe.
Yes.
So it's like a fundraiser with a dance. She needs a new dress, which is, you know, priorities.
Exactly. But to me, it was kind of interesting because the two sisters, again, they're spilling out their life story and they're saying like, hey, what little money we do make, we make dresses.
Oh, yeah, that's
right. And so what does she do? She goes out and she buys a new dress.
Right.
For this dance. And it's like, well, if you really want to help these people.
But then you wouldn't have the plot twist of who she runs into at the store.
Yes. So, yeah, she runs into the Topham sisters. They're unattractive.
Correct.
And they're mean.
That's the other piece. You know, if you're mean, you must be unattractive. And if you're unattractive, you must be mean. They go together. In this world, they do.
Luckily, we're both very attractive, so that means that we're nice people.
We're okay. Yes. So she runs into them at the store, and she kind of overhears them being awful to the sales clerk.
Yes. And they seem to be worried about the will a little bit, too, because it's not official. Like, there's rumors about, there's maybe a second will out there, but they're kind of antsy about that. Nancy Drew, of course, is very nice and polite to everybody. And these two sisters are very just angry at the world.
Right. It brings to mind Cinderella.
Oh, sure, yes.
It's a very, like, especially you watch that Disney version of Cinderella, and you're like, okay, they may have drawn specifically from that for either one of these.
I can imagine, yes.
Yes, it's a very similar.
So the store attendant gets a frock, which I love the word frock, for these sisters, and they don't like it. They throw it on the floor. And Nancy Drew picks it up because she's just so nice. And Nancy Drew and one of the sisters like fight over it, tear it, and the two sisters flee the scene. The storekeeper is like scared that she's going to get
fired
or have to pay for it. And Nancy Drew is just so kind-hearted. She's like, "Oh, well, I can try to pay for this." Like,
right.
But let's like mend it first.
Right. Like, I'll buy it. We'll mend it. I'll take this dress.
Yes. And then so they mend it in the store. And it fits better than it already did. Like it's somehow it's a nicer cut.
It's like Cinderella.
Okay, so yeah, within seconds she had made a change in an overlap of the chiffon skirt. The tear was no longer visible, and the style of the dress was actually improved. So just everything just comes up Nancy Drew.
It does, yes. I mean, that is something that we'll find along the way. Is that everything does always work out in the end, even if you get locked in a closet or almost run over by a truck. But it always works out. And also she can do anything, and everybody loves her.
Right.
So,
and if you don't, you're a bad person.
Well, then she has lunch with her father and another person who I believe he was another lawyer.
Yes. Yes.
Because her dad thought that maybe he knew something about the will. He was Josiah's lawyer at one point, I believe.
And Nancy Drew kind of like eggs him on, like, hey, can you ask him more about it? Can you do this thing that's maybe a little illegal?
Right.
And not like, attorney-client privilege. And so they meet up. And then, so this other lawyer says that basically he was talking about a second will, but I never saw it. But it's probably, around somewhere. Nancy Drew kind of starts to investigate the other people that boarded Josiah Crowley.
He seems to know many destitute people.
So the next people she meets is the Hoover girls, which is their parents died, but their parents boarded Crowley at some point. And basically same situation. It's like, hey, I'll give you money when I die. You're going to be okay. In which case, like, old Peter would be like, hey, maybe this guy just promised. Maybe there's no extra money, or like maybe there's no extra will. Maybe this guy just promised money to everybody.
That could be, that would be an interesting twist on this story. That at the end, he was just
he was just a jerk.
The huckster, to use a word from the time, I think.
So we have two sisters.
Yeah.
And she goes onto their farm. It's raining really hard, and she has this roadster with the
top down.
With the top down. And then so she breaks into their barn.
She drives right into the barn.
To get away from the rain.
Yes.
And she scares one of the sisters.
Who's in the barn.
In the barn because she broke and entered, basically.
Right. Yes. And then that takes us to the next chapter, because I think it's like, she drives into the barn.
And she hears a scream.
And she hears a scream.
She thought she hit somebody.
Right.
Great job, Nancy.
And the chapter ends, because that's how they end.
Right. So they get dried off in the Hoover farmhouse. It's like the most awkward scene ever. It's just the two sisters and Nancy Drew. And it's one of their birthdays. One of the Hoover.
Join us for this birthday party.
Yes. Hey, stranger, join us for this birthday party.
Well, that's the other thing, like she went to the Turner sisters' house and they told her their sad life story. Now she's at the Hoover sisters' house and she's instantly invited to a birthday party. Let me bring out the cake for you.
Yes. And so one of the girls sings happy birthday. And then Nancy Drew joins in, which I can imagine is just like the most awkward thing ever.
No, because she's wonderful and everybody loves her.
But I just imagine old Peter going in and just being like, I just need to dry off and ask you some questions. I will have some cake, though.
Yes.
And then what's even more awkward is then the girl keeps singing, and she has a lovely voice.
She has a
which becomes a plot point to this.
Yes, because somehow Nancy Drew knows a famous opera singer, tutor, teacher. I don't know exactly what his title is, but she decides, I'm going to get these two together.
Yes. So she drops everything and she goes to this teacher. The kiddo sings to the instructor, and the instructor's like, yeah, she's going to be a huge talent. She can be like a top opera singer.
But it costs a lot of money.
Right. But he'll do it like at cost, basically, because she's just so good. But you still need money to do it.
Right. And if only we had that other will.
Yes.
And the money.
She kind of just keeps bebopping back and forth.
Yeah,
she runs into the Tophams again, and they're talking about a will, and it specifically says like, "Oh, Nancy used her detective instincts," and she's like, "Oh, they must be talking about the Crowley will," and I'm like, "Of course, Nancy. That's what this whole book's about. Like, what other will would they be talking about?"
The way that I was thinking about this as I was reviewing it, and the way that she deduces things reminds me of this one time when I was working the reference desk, and somebody was in a study room, and I can't remember. I was talking with a coworker, and I said, "Well, it looks like they're probably studying math in there. And she said, was it the calculator in there that gave it away? Like, it's so obvious. And that's what, like, her deduction skills are like, I am seeing a calculator on the table. They must be doing math. That's about the level that she's at, unfortunately, which is funny because, you know, Nancy can do anything. But for some reason, I did feel like the first half of the book, even though there was some action there, it was, like you said, a lot of like, okay, she's visiting these people. Now she's visiting, and maybe it's just like we're setting up all the destitute people that could benefit
from this money.
Yeah.
So then, she goes back to the Tuckers with the two sisters at the beginning. Judy is outside playing by herself again. And again, this kid's 5. Okay.
This is the 1930s or 50s. Either way, Peter. This is
totally fine.
It's not now.
Nancy's there because she wants kind of more information about the people that boarded with Crowley.
Right.
But I thought this part was really funny because Judy's like, hey, can you play with me first? And they have like a badminton set. And so, I wrote this down. Hi, Nancy. I'm glad you came. Now I'll have somebody to play with. Obligingly, Nancy took a racket and batted the feathered shuttlecock towards the child. Hit the birdie, she called, which I imagine her like serving this at Judy at
with full
speed.
Force.
But then I wrote down in my notes, Nancy, she's 5. What are you doing? Because like kids have no like coordination. Like you can't play badminton with a kid like that.
I don't know. We got to find some 5-year-olds and try this out.
And test it out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they did go back and forth. So
yeah, but I don't know. Just my nephew and niece just trying to like play any sort of like baseball with them, like with a big wiffle bat. They couldn't even do that.
No, probably
you just don't have the motor skills. So what is she doing? I just thought that was funny.
She's going to teach Judy how to play badminton. That's what's going to happen. I do feel like the depiction of like small children in this era, like if you look at like old TV shows and stuff, it's like just they're either like tiny adults or it's bizarre. But they play for a while,
like 10 or 15 minutes.
And then she finally goes inside.
Yes, she's like, okay, enough of that. This kid is probably tuckered out for me, like belting her with this.
Well, what I found interesting is once she went inside, she starts talking to the sisters about
all the other boarders,
all the other people. The sisters mention 2 other people.
Yes. So it's 2 brothers.
2 brothers. And the sisters were supposed to marry the brothers. But then
Judy's mom got sick, and so they just didn't.
Well, it was Judy's mom's parents died.
Oh, okay.
So Judy's mom's parents died, so they had to raise Judy's mom.
Okay.
So then they didn't get married.
Okay.
History repeated itself when Judy's mom died.
Yeah, okay.
And then they took care of Judy.
So, but why even bring this up? It's such a weird detail.
Well, you know, I can't remember if there was a love connection at the end with the sisters and the brothers.
They never like with the money. They help out Judy, and then these 2 brothers are like, "Hey, we can finally go on that trip we always wanted to."
That's true. It wasn't.
Like, they never reconnect.
Like, no. My first thought was, I don't know why if you have to raise a little girl, you can't get married. I would think getting married would help the raising of the little girl.
I would imagine.
I think maybe it's just showing how sad their state, how sad everything is. They were never able to get married. They had to keep raising children whose parents had died. And now they have no money and no silverware.
Right. The sisters also ask, hey, do you know anything about our silverware that's missing? And it's like, nah, we don't really care about that right now. We care about the will.
Right. I was shopping. This is secondary. Yeah. So she really doesn't. All she finds out from them, I guess, is the next place she's going to go, which is to visit the brothers.
She sees the brothers.
And that's when the dog attacks her. She drives up to their farm. She sees a puppy caught in the fence.
Right.
So Nancy being Nancy, I mean, it's a dog caught in a fence. You are going to go, I'm not. But she rescues the puppy. She sees another dog.
Yeah, and the dog almost attacks her.
Yes. And that's the end of the chapter.
Basically.
Always.
And so basically, the brothers are just there to point you to the next person, Abby Rowan.
Yes, the older lady who lives alone.
And she's very destitute and also just kind of bedridden. She can't even get up to like answer the door because she fell down some stairs.
Right.
And bruised a hip.
Right. I hurt my hip and sprained my ankle. Has she seen a doctor? No, she hasn't. Then Nancy starts to examine her medically.
Yes, and she's an expert.
Can you walk a little? Then your hip isn't broken. And I thought, well, I don't know if I would trust that. But so then she bandages her ankle for her.
Gets her groceries. And specifically tells the reader, like, hey, I'm not going to charge her. I'm going to use my own money. Even though this old lady told her to like use the little money that she had.
Right.
And then so starts asking questions about Crowley. She's kind of forgetful. She's like, oh yeah, so Crowley promised me money too when he died. And I said something about a will. I don't 100% remember. And then she looks at the clock on her wall and she remembers a clock.
She remembers a clock, and then the chapter ends. You know, she remembered the clock, but then she's like, no, there was a notebook.
Right. So, yeah, she goes to this Abby Rowan's clock to investigate it, but there's like nothing inside. And then she uses her intuition again, and she's like, oh, there must have been a different clock.
He must have owned the clock.
He also, in the 1930s, must have had a clock.
It's pretty impressive. Yes, he must have had a clock. How can I find his clock? She
knows that the Tophams have all of his furniture. The last family that Crowley boarded with was the Tophams. Which this whole plot makes no sense because why did he have, it's never brought up, why did he have a will that said, hey, the Tophams get all the money?
If there was more to it, they, you know, maybe he had dementia. They probably would have called it feeble-minded in the original.
Or forgetful.
Yes. And they kind of tricked him into writing one. That would be like, that would kind of make more sense. But there's
that's not necessarily what happens because like he boards with the bad family, the ugly family.
He was there last.
Yes. But he also like, he still like visits like everybody else and be like, hey, don't worry, I'm still getting you money. So why did he have this will to begin with and not just have like the goodwill?
I don't know. I think your original theory that really he had no money would have been a more interesting ending. I'm not sure that it's about the plot though. I think it's just about
I understand, but still it's kind of fun.
Make it a cliffhanger chapter. Next thing.
It's fun to poke holes in.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is not going to be your top of the line story.
So she meets so she goes to the Topham's house.
Right.
She
runs into her friend.
Yes. Who's also attractive, so don't worry about that.
Yes.
That means she's good.
It's interesting. So Helen Corning is like her good friend. Okay. And you'll see Helen in these early books, and then Helen just disappears once she gains the two other friends, which we will see starting in, I don't know what book it is, 5 or 6. And they're the friends from there on out.
Helen needs to sell tickets to a charity ball.
The same ball that we were shopping for dresses for, I think.
Yes, probably. Nancy Drew has an idea that she's going to sell the remaining tickets to the Tophams.
Yep.
So that Helen can go on vacation somewhere, which is going to play into the plot
there's like
later.
A camp.
Yes, it's the camp, yes. So yeah, she goes to the Tophams, kind of snooping around for this clock. She sells the tickets. The father just wants the status because he overpays for the tickets.
It looks good. Yeah.
And of course, Nancy Drew has to be like, well, I don't think they really care about the cause. And it's like, Nancy Drew, what are you doing? Like, who really cares?
But they're the bad guys.
I understand.
So you have to keep pointing that out. Well, but then she's like, well, I got to find the clock.
Yes. And so she finds out that all the furniture is up in this vacation camp where Helen is right now. So, of course, how convenient.
Well, and I love how sneaky, not sneaky she was about trying to spot the clock in the house. She says, I must be going. Then looking at her wristwatch, she pretended that it had stopped and began to wind it. What time is it, please? There's a clock right in front of you on the mantle. And then she's like, Oh, there is. Is it an heirloom? Perhaps the old Crowley clock I've heard so much about? And then they like totally just dive right into that and are like, no.
Yeah, all of this furniture is up by this camp.
Yeah, exactly. Which it cracked me up because she's like casual, like,
I thought that's kind of a good detail, though.
It cracked me up. It just like the way, is it this? Is it an heirloom? They divulged the information that his clock is at the cabin.
Yes, by this camp.
On Moon Lake that they own, and it's right by the camp that Helen wants to go to. So
Very
it's
convenient.
Like perfect time. Yeah. Perfect.
So she goes up there, gets a flat tire.
Fixes it because she's Nancy
Fixes
Drew.
it because she can do it.
Yeah.
Good for her. But again, this is a interesting detail because I thought it'd be like, it was sabotaged.
Yes. I was a little, when I was looking back at this, I was a little surprised, like that wasn't, why did she fix a tire? Was it just to show you that she can?
I guess, which is cool.
Yeah.
But still, it's kind of an unnecessary detail.
No, unless, again, I'm still like curious, what does the original book have? Like, is there, because the originals were changed for different reasons. And what I have heard that some of what was taken out was some more detailed plot stuff, or they might have made her genteel. Like, there's a point where she's speeding in this book and she's like, I don't want to be like breaking, basically like, I don't want to break the speed limit. Like, I don't know that the original book would have put that in there, but they're trying to like make her like
good values.
Yeah. Not that she didn't have it before, but just like really like smooth her over a little almost.
So yeah, she goes to this camp and she doesn't know all the girls, but she makes quick friends with everybody because it's Nancy Drew.
Yeah.
And then like on the second day or so, she's like, hey, I'm going to investigate the cabin across the lake. So she gets into a motorboat.
Which she knows how to drive because she just knows.
And breaks down like halfway.
Right.
You wanted to do a segment called What Drew Can Do.
Yeah, I started writing down some things as I was paging through this, and there's so many things.
Like change a tire, like we just said.
Yes, we did change a tire. She does know how to drive a motorboat. But then when the motorboat breaks down, she fixes it. We don't know how she fixes it. She just puts her head over that engine and gets to work.
Well, it's not even that. It's like she tries to fix it like several times, and she just can't. It's just too... or it's just too hard. Right. Because there's something wrong with it. And then she's out on this lake for, it says hours.
A long time.
And she didn't bring any food. And she's like getting like sunburned. She hopes to like flag down some boats. She can't. And then she's like, well, I'm just going to try one more time.
Determination.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
She fixes it.
Yeah, she just fixes it.
She just fixes it. We don't know how she fixed it. That's not the point.
Oh, there's a big on-off switch and she just found it.
Her determination wins out. That's all. That's really all that it was. And so then she continues on her way.
She gets the boat working. She goes back to port. All of her girlfriends are like, hey, well, what happened? Like, oh, I was stranded. So then the next day, she checks out of the camp and she just drives to the cabin, which is like, Nancy, why didn't you do that to begin with? Yeah.
Well, again, and it makes for like these action sequences,
of course,
that are supposed to be suspenseful. Because it's really, again, it's like not about the plot; it's about the things that are happening. And can she make it out,
Kelly?
I know.
So then she finds the cabin finally, and there's like some like furniture out on the front lawn, basically. And she's like, oh. Like there must be some movers or
right.
something.
They didn't say they were moving though. That's odd.
Unable to connect the two plot points.
Even though she does have some detective intuition, but it's failing her on this one. And there's supposed to be a caretaker there as well.
Yes. And we'll talk about the caretaker in a bit. But then, she sees a guy coming. He's like short and stocky. And she's like, oh, it matches the description that one of the Turner sisters said to me.
And it's definitely not the caretaker, because that was the description of the caretaker was that he was
tall and thin.
So tall and thin.
And so the sister said like, oh, they said this description and it matches him totally, even though like there really is no description of this guy.
No.
Other than just, he's just...
Find some stocky guy. Husky. I'm not sure the wording if they use stocky or husky.
So she gets into the closet. It's 3 brigands three ruffians.
Right.
And they basically divulge the whole plan that they're looting this place. And Nancy holds her breath. Of course, she has to sneeze, but there's some good description in here about how she's like has to like try not to panic.
Right.
But eventually she does get found, and she gets thrown into like a shed and locked in and kind of left to starve.
Right. And she's there for quite a while, again, like just, and trying to figure out how to get out. She screams for a while, does find something finally to start getting. Yeah,
she basically gets like the hinges off of the door, and then she kind of like pushes the door down. That's what I got.
Yeah, but at that same time, the caretaker kind of shows up.
Yes. So the caretaker is Turner?
Jeff Tucker.
Jeff Tucker, thank you.
I just saw it, yeah.
And this is where the book got racist.
In the original.
In the original, yes. So we can talk about that a little bit.
So the original books, if there were people of color in the book, the depiction was often they were slow. They, in this particular book, I believe from the article you had sent me, they said he was drunk.
Yes. Or he got tricked into drinking.
Yes, they tricked him into drinking. So, I mean, basically kind of giving this picture of this person as being kind of stupid and not. And I believe you'll see this throughout the originals. Any character like that is going to have those depictions that are not accurate.
So this is all changed in the 50s.
Correct. So in the late 50s, they wanted to revise all the originals. And part of it was they wanted the racism removed. They wanted to do it because I believe they were getting pushback.
Oh, okay.
So I did read a little bit about this. I think there were some people who said, this isn't really a good depiction, which is, I think, impressive for the late 50s.
Definitely.
That people were saying that.
But the way they solved it was by just removing.
Correct. So, and I think that was, instead of making those characters human, yes, yeah, exactly, human, they just made them white.
Yeah.
And then changed them. So when you look at these reprints, you're not really going to see too many people of color at all. So, they may have removed the racism technically, but they just did it by whitewashing the book.
Exactly.
In my mind, it's a little surprising that they even tried, but the way that they did it probably wasn't.
Yes, a great fix.
No, no.
So Jeff Tucker becomes, I don't know if we said Turner or Tucker before. They should have not used
Turner and Tucker.
Similar names, but and it's old Jeff Tucker now.
Yes, and I think he's still Jeff Tucker, but he's now white. And instead of being tricked into drinking, he was just
like knocked out or something.
I think knocked out.
But he's still he's bumbling for this key. And so it's still kind of there, this kind of
just an old guy who's maybe confused.
Right. But it's still you can still see the echoes of what this was, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So we wanted to bring it up and not necessarily dwell on it, but still,
right. Exactly. And I mean, unfortunately, you're going to find these things in a lot of books from that time period, books that, are considered classics. I always think of Little House on the Prairie. There's a lot of stuff in those books as well. And I think if you reread them, it's a good, okay, let's reread this through a different lens and maybe have a conversation about why this probably isn't good.
Tucker and Nancy Drew, they end up going to the police station. And just kind of talking about the description of the van. So the cops are kind of on the case, but Nancy Drew kind of wants to drive around town to see if they're still
in the area.
She decides to stop at a motel and she sees the van. And instead of calling it in, she's like, hey, I'm going to go look at that van, which again is very Nancy Drew.
Yes. And for a person or a young woman who is believed immediately and 100% by every police officer that meets her.
But she also has a reputation too. She's they're always you're Nancy Drew. You're Mr. Drew's daughter too.
Right.
So she has
although she's out of town here.
Yes.
The state, she's so I don't know that they do recognize who she is. Well, and it's interesting too, at the beginning of the book when she reports the robbery from the Turner sisters, the police chief is not like later on in the book, it'll be like the same police chief, you know, that kind of thing. This guy was different. We haven't settled on our.
Sure.
This is like the pilot. But yes, you are correct. Instead of going back to the police that trust her implicitly, she decides.
Or sabotaging this car in any way, this van. She's like, hey, I'm just going to go inside.
I am going to find this out. I'm going to find that clock.
The doors are locked of this van. She's looking around for the keys. They're under some like mat. She's able to open it up. And then she's able to find the clock all of a sudden. But that's when the guys start coming back. And so she kind of has to, it's a pretty interesting, tense scene, because she has to like lock everything up and kind of try to hide the keys where they were. The guys leave. She gets the clock, and the cops come right in time. How did the cops get there?
Yeah, I don't know if they just...
The cops chase the van, and it kind of like hits something, and it stops the van.
I do remember, though, there is a point, and maybe it's here, and maybe she just runs into the police because she had gotten the clock, and then she's like, I need to look at this clock. But there is a certain point after she looks at the clock where I think it's like, I don't know if she runs into the police or what, but she leads them in this chase, basically, which is another thing that I'm not sure would happen in real life. Like, lead the way, teenager. So there's a little suspension of disbelief. But yes, before that, she does open up the clock.
She finds the notebook.
She finds a notebook inside.
And then so this van is kind of stalled out. They capture all the guys. This clock is in her car. Right. And the cop is like, we're going to take all these guys to jail, to lock up. Can you give this one officer a ride back? And of course, Nancy Drew is like freaking out because she basically stole evidence.
Yes.
And so she's freaking out. She's trying to like rationalize because, again, like you said, like the morality of Nancy Drew always has to be good. So she can like, I would give this clock back as soon as I can, but she has to like rationalize why she's taking it. And then I think she admits to the cop that she did take it.
Yes.
But in that time, she took out the notebook and just gives the clock back right away.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. And, there was no consequence because
it's Nancy Drew.
Right, exactly.
And then so from there, the book is basically wrapped up, except like it goes on for way too long.
It does go on. I was surprised by that because as I was reviewing it again, I was like, oh yeah, there's a lot happening. Like there's still quite a few pages, which is surprising for a book that moves very quickly.
Yes. So yeah, she finds the clock and she gets back home and they're going to do this big kind of reveal about the will. And there's a part I texted you. So yeah, she gets back home.
Oh yeah.
Her eyes lighted on the refrigerator and suddenly Nancy realized she was very hungry. Many hours had passed and she had eaten. Food, she thought. Which I thought was so funny. Her internal monologue is always just so like, oh, if only people were good. And like, it's very, she always kind of like wears her heart on her sleeve. And so it's just like, food. I thought it was really funny.
It was an interesting choice. But then, of course, Hannah comes into the kitchen and then we have a lovely meal. Which I feel like they didn't really dwell on this so much in this book, but when you texted me that, I did remember like they were always eating very well in these books. Maybe we'll see that more in other books, but like in this, she gets a chicken sandwich, cocoa, a large slice of cinnamon cake over which was poured hot applesauce.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever had that before as a, cinnamon cake with hot applesauce over the
yes.
top. I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know if you want that like right before you go to sleep though. Because you got a big day ahead of you, Nancy.
She's a teenager. So
sure, that's fair.
Her metabolism and everything is probably really good. So
anyway, then this next part goes on for way too long because it's about this big reveal of the will and who gets what. And she has to bring in everybody, every character we've met. So the sisters are there with Judy and the two younger sisters, the Hoppers, are there. Hoovers, thank you. And the two brothers are there. Yep. And then also the Tophams are there with their lawyer. Right. And so basically this new will was found in a safety deposit box. So the will wasn't in the clock, but this notebook basically has all of his like bank statements in it and there's a safety deposit key in it with an address, and they open it up and they find that the will is in there. And so basically it's split evenly except for the Tophams, who get very little.
Right. They gave Mr. Topham... Well,
Like
everybody else was
$5,000.
getting like percentages of the estate, and then he got $5,000, but the mother and the 2 evil stepsisters did not get anything.
Yes.
And then they were quite upset.
They were also talked about how like Mr. Topham has been losing a lot of money too, so they're not as well off as they thought they were.
Or as they purported to be.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Not a happy ending for everybody.
No, but...
Because how Nancy rationalizes this whole thing by saying like, hey, the Tophams don't deserve anything because they have so much money. Mm-hmm. And they're evil too because they're ugly. But also like they have all this money and that they don't need. But they did need this money though.
Right.
Whether they deserve it or not is, that's another thing, but still.
Right. It's a very black and white world.
Of course. Yes, I understand. But still, it's just interesting.
Yeah.
So it's all wrapped up, but then the next chapter is, hey, we better wrap it up again. And so Nancy Drew has to go personally to every single person, check in on them. Mm-hmm. And so, the Turner sisters, the Turner sisters are doing fine with Judy. The Hoover sisters are doing great. The one is taking singing lessons. The brothers, they're doing great. They're finally going to go on that trip. It's not, because I was with you. I thought that they were going to
love connection.
Yeah, reunite.
But well, and that's another thing we'll see as we go. Romance does not play a big role in these books at all. So later on you will meet, I don't know what book it's in, but you will meet Ned Nickerson, who is, I would call him her boyfriend. He's probably they may more refer to him as special friend. We'll find out. So he's kind of he's there and he's there to help and he's the muscle maybe sometimes, but she's really got to solve the mystery, doing stuff with him, not top of the list. And part of that is too, and I guess we can talk about this later, but I had read that there were other series where they had female leads who would get married and then the sales on those books tanked. So that was part of it, was Nancy's never going to get married. You're never going to see that. And they wanted to avoid that.
Interesting.
I don't know if that would have played a role, but it was an interesting, why would you say we were supposed to marry them, but we didn't? Mm-hmm. And then you introduce them to them and then they go on a trip at the end of the book instead of and now we can find the love of our lives. I don't know. And maybe it just was to show how sad their situation was.
Sure. And then so she is able to keep the clock as a memento of her first case. Mm-hmm. She even says hey, I don't like this clock. This clock looks bad. Or it's the description of it was this clock is ugly, but I want to keep it as a memento. Mm-hmm. But then this last paragraph I thought was just so weird. So she keeps the clock. This is the first mystery I've ever solved alone. So this last paragraph. As Nancy stood looking wistfully at the old clock, she little dreamed that in the near future she would be involved in the hidden staircase mystery, a far more baffling case than the one she had just solved. So obviously they're alluding to the next book, The Hidden Staircase. Yeah. But if you think about it in the world of the story, this clock gave her special powers. And she could see into the future?
Spoiler alert, that happens at the end of every book.
Does it?
Here's the next book. So here's The Hidden Staircase. Although she was, the young sleuth smiled. Although she was glad it was all over, she could not help but look forward to another mystery to solve.
But this is specifically...
One soon came her way when, quite accidentally, she found herself involved in the bungalow mystery. So every book has the next book in it.
I see, but this one is
the clock did it?
Weird because it's she's looking at this clock and she's thinking about her next mystery. It's very weird. How would you, because again, this is my first one, so how would you rate this one compared to, or are they all kind of the same?
They're all very much the same.
Oh, good.
I'm going to tell you they're all very much the same. Although it would be interesting to see if there's shifts when there's a different ghostwriter. Mm-hmm. I want to look up again before we get to it when this original ghostwriter on this one was Mildred Wirt Benson, but the rewrite that we read was Harriet Stratmeyer Adams.
Okay.
There should be a few in the early beginnings that's a different ghostwriter, and I want to see if it feels different at all. And also, too, I want to see, because if I have an original, I want to read that when we get to those.
Yes, that'd be great.
So, like with the second book, The Hidden Staircase, I have an original, and then I have a rewrite. So, yeah, they are very much all the same. Okay. I mean, if I was reading this for the first time and was going to try to give it a rating between 1 and 5,
sure.
5 being the best, it would be pretty low.
Okay.
I mean, the writing, and I will also say in general, I'm just a harsh grader.
Right. Uh-huh.
The writing isn't the greatest. The story is very basic. If you compare it to children's literature now, there's usually a little more going on.
Yeah, I thought the mystery was bad.
Yeah,
but there were parts that were good. There were parts that were thrilling.
And for me, it's a nostalgia thing.
Of course.
Like that is completely that. And I would say that most people that read them when they were younger, that's how they're going to grade it. Sure. So
that's fair.
So I gave it 5 stars. Because
all right. Well, I think that about covers it. So the next time we meet up, we'll be talking about
The Hidden Staircase, a much more, what does it say? A much more
compelling,
a far more baffling case. So we'll find out if it is baffling. I'm going to continue to add to my list of things what Drew can do. She saved a child. She gave out medical advice. Changed a tire, fixed a motorboat, escaped from a locked closet. She's also very popular and attractive. Although those don't fall under what she can do, but they round her out.
Clearly.
It's quite the resume.
So yeah, we'll record that, I don't know, soonish. We're not going to have necessarily like a hard release schedule. But yeah, we'll meet up, soonish, and we'll get to the bottom of that mystery.
Exactly. Well, I want to find out how close you are after a quarter of the way.
Yeah.
To see if you've solved it before Nancy does.
Nancy was a little slow on the uptake, so I don't think it's going to take that much.
Yes, exactly.
But I can't change a tire, so what do I know?
I've seen it done.
I know it's possible.
Exactly.
Well, I think that will do it. So my name's Peter. I'm a librarian.
My name is Kelly. I'm a librarian.
And this has been the Drew Crew. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.